Hi there, Russ Douglas 222 again. This video is part 3 of our review of the PARD SA25 thermal rifle scope, which is this neat little fella here. I passed the SA25 to Bruce for a few days and he went out and about on a couple of his permissions. He also did some comparisons with the Pulsar XQ38V spotter, and basically the PARD was shining over and above the Pulsar, out to spotting rabbits out to sort of 500 meters. And he said the one time that the Pulsar exceeded the PARD for capabilities was about a deer at 900 meters. And this is only the 25mm version, bearing in mind. And there are 35 and 45mm versions, as well as the smaller 19mm version. But Bruce said that at 900 meters, the extra magnification of the Pulsar eventually became an advantage. The PARD displays to the eye a resolution of 102 by 768, but the video out here is something like 800 by 600 res. So I gave Bruce a shot of my Yukon NPR video recorder, which I used to use hooked up to my own thermal spotter, the Pulsar Quantum XQ30V from Scott Country International. Now, this fella, the maximum resolution it'll record is 720 by 576. So the PARD's resolution is being let down by what it can export and also what these video recorder can import. Bruce made up a cable. It's not an aviation connector, it's actually an automotive connection. I'll splice in a couple of photos of the setup with this attached. Basically, Bruce fastened aluminium plate on the back via double-sided Velcro, and then attached a short section of Picatinny rail here to the side of the PARD SA25 with one of these little connectors, which these are actually freebies from customriflescopes.com with various orders. And this is the second or third use I've found for them, so thanks Ash. I hadn't set this up for audio recording. I've got my notes based on watching Bruce's footage, so I'm going to record a voiceover, splice the two together at the appropriate point and talk you through what you're looking at. Just remember that the resolution you see through the eyepiece itself is far better than anything I'm going to bring you on here recorded via the Yukon NPR and that cable. And the purpose of this video is to show you what you'll see through the menu options, reticle options, colors. And one thing I should explain is the sharp, crisp, fine reticles, and there are 5 designs available on the SA25, just like the PARD AA LRF. These fine, crisp, sharp reticles don't transfer very well when the resolution is lowered from 1024 by 768 down to the resolution that the Yukon NPR can record. So ignore the reticles. It's just the purpose of this video is to bring you the menu options with Bruce's typical 100-yard ridgeline in the distance, which you'll have seen from some of our other videos, with that in the distance as a kind of a benchmark. I've stretched it to improve the screen ratio a little bit. So the PARD's optical zoom, the base zoom, is ×2 according to Bruce's measurements. So when PIP is activated, pressing the zoom button brings up the ×2 digital zoom PIP box, which is then 4 times magnification. You press zoom again and it's then ×4, which will be ×8 altogether. Color modes: white hot, black hot, and the colourful options, which I don't bother with. I stick to white hot, and so does Bruce. Right, into the menu. Hot track function. Here, a red circle with some little, 4 little stadia on it, jumps around, locking onto whatever's the hottest thing visible at any one time. You can spot the distortion as well, the screen distortion, because this is normally a circle through the eyepiece, but here it's slightly oval despite my attempts at correction. Once the pip is off, pressing the magnify button magnifies the whole view by first ×2 and then ×4, and then off. Activating the compass and the roll and pitch, 2 separate functions. They can be activated individually or all together. Compass gives you the compass bearing and the direction you're looking in. Roll on the left is a measure of inclination and declination, i.e. angling upwards or angling downwards. And over on the right, pitch is a measure of the cant. Now this is slightly coarse. I would imagine what we could really do with is this being far more precise, assuming the sensor is precise enough within the PARD to measure, but ideally this would be a little bit finer for shooters. Contrast, well here we start on 60. Bruce is putting it up and it slowly tracks up until you get to 260, at which point it reverts to 0 and then he puts it back to 60. Likewise, brightness starts on 60, goes up to 260, and then back to 0, and then up to 60. Going through the modes, so we've got the white hot, black hot, and the colour. Sharpness, settings are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or back to 0. There's blind pixel compensation for any duff pixels in the lens that are visible in the eyepiece. You can have the blind pixel correction on automatic or manual. Now the zeroing menu is a little bit of a pain because no matter what Bruce tried, the lower half of the zeroing menu disappeared off the screen in the recordings, and he tried this several times. But you can just about make out, a bit like the PARD 008 LRF firmware, which is version 1.25 at the moment. There are 10 reticle options, not the previous 5, and there are 5 designs of reticle on and off, so 6 in total. The reticle is available in 4 colours, although whether you select white or black, it shows white. So that's a little bug that I'm sure PARD will fix soon. So there's no black reticle option on this version we're testing. Okay, reticle options. Option 0 is blank. Option 1 is a plain cross. Option 2 is a cross with a floating centre cross. Option 3, a T with a floating centre cross. Option 4 is a cross with some mills. And option 5 is more mills. Some of them are numbered. You've seen that white is white. Well, black is also white here. The Zarin is bright red to the naked eye, and yellow is yellow to the naked eye, but neither shows it properly on my phone. And that's how the LRF aiming box looks. I hope that all makes sense and brings you a little bit of the available menu options through the eyepiece when you're using the PARD. A fantastic piece of kit, so small. I mean, that's in my hand, so small, so light. 600 grams all in, including the mount and the battery. Fantastic. So thanks very much for your watching and for comments and support. Much appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments any questions, and also let me know what else you'd like to see.